Hey YouTube, welcome to my channel. My name's Cassie. I talk about video games, do video game reviews, unboxings, pickups, and all sorts of other video game related topics. Today I want to talk about the Game Awards, which was last night between 6:30 to around 10:30. So that's about 3.5, 4 hours long, and they showed a lot of video games. We also had the Day of the Devs and Wholesome Games, or the Wholesome Snacks, which I love it being called that. Indie games are like snacks. They're pretty good. But we had that the day before, and then just kind of go over what games were kind of stood out to me, or which I mean there was a lot, but and then go over the Grand Theft Auto 6 trailer a little bit because that released on Monday. It released a day early just because of leaks, because people are impatient and they can't wait, and they also like to get views, and that's what happens, unfortunately, with social media being a thing. So it takes away, I mean, I don't know. Anyway, I'll also go over what I'm playing this weekend or this week, because I do work retail, so weekends I don't get too much in. But anyway, what I'll be playing over the next period of time before you see another video from me, which I release on Fridays right now. So yeah, let's drop right into it. I'm going to go over the Day of the Devs, which was on Wednesday, and the Wholesome Snacks. There were quite a few indie games that were shown. Not really as many stood out to me this time around as some of the, I think there's been some wholesome games that were shown. Oh gosh, I don't know, but Nintendo has their Indie Direct, and Xbox does quite a few things with what is it called? I don't know, but anyway, they usually show a lot. They showcase a lot of indies. PlayStation hasn't been doing it as much lately, which is kind of weird because PlayStation kind of not really started the indie scene, but with Journey, when Journey first came out, that kind of started kind of a trend of these independent developers. Hey, they use a lot less, they have a lot less money to work with, and they're smaller teams and they're not as well known, but that doesn't mean that they're bad or don't have quality, because honestly, there are some indie games, actually a lot of indie games, that are stellar, and some are even better than AAA, in my opinion. So but anyway, Day of the Devs, Wholesome Snacks, we had a game called Loose Leaf, which is kind of a tea simulator. It looks pretty interesting. I'm not sure where it's coming out. Most of these will probably come out on Steam first, if not anything else. We also had Open Roads, which is starring Kerry Russell. She's an actress, if you haven't heard of her before. And it looks kind of like just a visual, narrative walking sim, what have you. Kind of similar to games like Life is Strange and As Dusk Falls sort of thing, which I'm a fan of. I love the Life is Strange games, and I really liked As Dusk Falls. That was one of my favorite games from last year, actually. So so it's about it's kind of like a road trip with a mother and daughter. And I don't really know too much about it, but it looks interesting. They started the showcase out with this one game where there's this giant police officer, and for some reason I forgot what the name of it was. I think it started with an M, but there's this giant police officer, and you're in this small world, and he can see everything that you're doing, and you're trying to gain his favor, I guess, to kind of get out of there, because he literally can you know, he's a giant, so he can watch your every move. Sometimes, you know, if he's asleep at night, you can get more things done, but if you set off an alarm, it looked interesting to me. It's kind of like a puzzle game, adventure game, what have you. It looked really interesting, but I don't remember what it was called. Holston. This was a kind of a like survival horror game, but it has really interesting perspectives. Like you've got like a 2D, it's, you know, kind of like the older style 2D, 3D art, and the animation is quite a bit different. You know, it still looks like an older style game, but you can go into first person, third person, isometric, depending on like the way you're attacking the enemies, and it looks pretty cool. It's like a shooter, survival horror game, set in Poland, I think. And then we moved on to the wholesome snacks from there. Those are really the only ones that really like stood out to me too much. I mean, there's a few that other ones I might try too, but not as many as I typically see in an indie showcase. We had Vivarium, which is like these, obviously like little terrariums that these different worlds, these people live in. It looked kind of like the art style of kind of one of the older Ghibli or older anime style. When I say older, I mean like 80s style, hand-drawn animation. And it kind of reminded me of The Secret World of Arrietty. And there's basically these, you know, these little worlds where there's people and these like little like terrariums that just get kind of like forgotten about. But there's actually like civilizations inside of them. So it looked kind of interesting. It looks like an RPG. I don't really know too much about it, but the art style is interesting enough. Eastward Octopia. This is a DLC to Eastward, but it looks like a farming simulator, which I don't think Eastward was. I have not played Eastward yet. I've been meaning to for quite a long time because it's the developer's Chucklefish, or the publisher is Chucklefish. I'm not really sure, but Chucklefish published Stardew. So, published or developed? They published it. Okay, so yeah, but anyway, it looks really cool, the DLC does, so I'm gonna have to play Eastward in order to play Octopia, because I don't just play a game just to play the DLC, you know, but anyway. And then there's Simpler Times, which you saw last year, and I think we saw at Summer Game Fest as well. This one's kind of like a puzzle adventure game. And it looks really interesting. I don't really know, like, I kind of like forgot a lot about it, so, and I was a little distracted during the Day of the Devs Wholesome Snacks, so I didn't write everything down. But yeah, that's pretty much it for the indies. And then we move on to the Game Awards, which was yesterday. The Game Awards has been honestly like one of the cooler game announcements have come from the Game Awards lately for the past several years. Next year will be its 10th anniversary, which is crazy to think that we've only had the Game Awards for 9 years so far. But the years fly by, so it's really, I don't know. But there was a lot shown last night, and it was really, really, really cool. I will say, just like a lot of people who actually care about video games and care about their developers, that I wish that the developers and the winners did get more time on stage to kind of, you know, just give a speech, or, you know, give them some time. They're the ones that make these games, and without the developers, we would not have these games. We would not have the Game Awards. And they're very important, so let them have their moments. 30 seconds was way too short, especially for those that had a translator as well. That's barely any time at all. Some even like seemed like they were interrupted like right as they started talking, and I don't think that's respectful at all. I think maybe a minute and 30 seconds is, you know, much better. Maybe at least like 2 to 3, you know, just to be nice, you know, just give them their time. There were also a lot of kind of just like shout outs for the winners, which was really surprising. It was 5 nominations or 5 categories in a row that they just shout out the winners, and they did not get any acceptance speech or anything, which was really weird because it was RPG, indie, games for impact. I think those that really should have a speech did not get their time, and that's kind of uncalled for, to be quite honest. So I just wanted to address that. I know Jeff has already addressed that he is listening to everybody, and he's going to try better next year. So hopefully he does. And I know that Jeff's not the only person that's doing these. He has to report to other people just as most people do. So it's not all on him. Anyway, that aside, there were a lot of really cool announcements at the Game Awards. I'm not going to go in order of when they were announced because I didn't write them down as I was watching because I was too excited to really like write things down and then like also talk to my sister back and forth and tweet and everything while these awards were showing. So it was just too much. So I just went to a site and they had them not in order of when they were announced. So we had Kojima come on stage, just as we all expected. It was not for Death Stranding, but it was for this new game that he's working on for Xbox called OD. And I'm not really sure what it is. Obviously, the motion cap was really good. You know, Kojima's really good with his like cinematics and stuff, which is kind of, you know, what's the gameplay like, you know. I like Death Stranding enough, but I don't really know that I like it as much as other people. The visuals were stunning. It's one of the best looking games I've played. But gameplay wise, it was just, I don't know, it was okay, I guess. But then Jordan Peele came on stage and announced that he's working on this game with Kojima, which is a pretty unique combination there. I love Jordan Peele. I love his movies. Us was really cool. Get Out, I really like that movie a lot as well. What was the cowboy one? Was interesting. But yeah, Us and Get Out were like 2 of my favorite movies. So in the like thriller genre. So that was really cool to see. We also got an announcement for God of War Ragnarok DLC, which actually comes out on the 12th, I think, which is not too far away. It's called God of War Ragnarok Valhalla, and it is a roguelike God of War. Roguelite, actually, it's more like a roguelite. I don't know. You know, everybody has different definitions for it. From what I understand, roguelites, there's roguelikes that are permadeath and just randomized dungeons with no progression system. And then there's roguelites that have a progression system. So every time you die, you get extra things that you can upgrade your character with, and those carry over. You know, like a Hades or a Vampire Survivors, those are roguelites. I've had somebody say, you know, is it like a rogue or is it kind of take like things from a rogue. I don't know which one is which. You know, I've seen all sorts of different descriptions on it, but I'm just gonna stick to what originally I heard. So whatever. Anyway, it's a rogue, okay? And so it's really cool. I really like roguelikes. So I will definitely be checking that out. I still have not finished God of War Ragnarok, unfortunately, so I will need to finish that at some point, hopefully next year. We also got an announcement for Blade. This is coming from Arcane, the studio that did Dishonored, Deathloop, and yes, Redfall, but Redfall was, you know, I did not play Redfall, so I can't say personally, but it was one of the most criticized games of this year. Arcane tried to do something different, and it did not work for them. So them sticking to the single player campaign, they can come back from this. And I think Blade's really cool, so I think they could really make this work. Just learn from their mistakes, and hopefully they don't do another Redfall with this. But I think that's really, really awesome. Sega showed a trailer, and you see this guy, and then it flashed to the license plate, and it said Crazy Taxi, and I went crazy because I am a huge Crazy Taxi fan. It's actually it's Sega remakes, so it's Jet Set Radio Future. You've got Golden Axe is being remade. That's pretty cool. Shinobi, I think, and Crazy Taxi. I don't know. I don't remember. Streets of Rage also. So that's really awesome. I'm most obviously excited for Crazy Taxi because I was such a huge fan of Crazy Taxi back in the day. I did play it on GameCube. I didn't play it on Dreamcast because I didn't have a Dreamcast, but I did play it on the demos at Toys R Us on Dreamcast. And it's just such a fun game. Although they did lose the rights to Offspring, so when it got ported to the Xbox, I don't know if anybody else has played the Crazy Taxi on Xbox, but it does not have the Offspring, which was kind of an iconic soundtrack for Crazy Taxi. They made songs specifically for Crazy Taxi on there, and it just doesn't hit the same without them. So I hope that they're able to do the Offspring in this remake. But visually they look good, so I'm excited. The creator for the guy from Hello Games, the creator for No Man's Sky, came up on stage and said he's been working on something new. And yes, we were very disappointed when No Man's Sky came out. It wasn't exactly what we were wanting, but they did make a lot of improvements, and it's actually a pretty fun game. And considering, I think Hello Games is made up of like 2 or something people, that's pretty impressive what they did. And Light No Fire is their new game. It's a fantasy game, and it looks really cool. I'm not going to get my hopes up for it just because of the past, but I think he's learned from his mistakes with the first game he put out, and it visually looks really good. So we'll see how that is. As Dusk Falls is getting a PlayStation 5 release, which is amazing. This game is amazing. Go play it when it releases. I'm probably going to pre-order it myself, even though I've already finished the game. If you're fans of Life is Strange kind of games, definitely play this. It's amazing. Final Fantasy 16, Echoes of the Fallen, and Rising Tide. The DLC dropped dropped yesterday. It was a shadow drop for the DLC, and it's free. I think I will go back and play this just to get the DLC out of the way. I did not like 16 as much as a lot of other people did. The story is amazing, but gameplay wise, some of it did not fall through like I wanted it to. I was a little disappointed, to be quite honest, with some of the side quests, and it just felt kind of like, I don't know, a chore in some ways. Then we had The Last Sentinel. This was kind of like a really fast-paced first-person shooter, where I think I'm getting the games mixed up, but I think it was the one where there was a little girl and there were, I guess, robots that take over the world that were taking care of her, and this human comes in and like takes out a bunch of robots and tells her to come with her. And it was kind of like a, I don't know, it's really hard to say. I don't remember if it was all just gunfight. I think it was just gunfight, but there may have been swords too. But anyway, it looks really cool. Rise of the Ronin. This one looks amazing as well. This is from Team Ninja. They're the same ones that did Nioh. And the combat looks really flashy. I think it looks cool. Lost Records, Bloom and Rage. This is from Don't Nod, and it looks very Life is Strange like, so I'm definitely into Don't Nod. I love Jusant. Jusant was amazing, but I love like Don't Nod's like Life is Strange type games, so I'm definitely going to play that. Visions of Mana, Secret of Mana, whatever. Mana, tomato, I don't know. Anyway, this is the first that they've made a game in like 15 years, so that seems pretty cool. I haven't played any of the others, but it looked nice. Jurassic Park Survival, a survival action game for Jurassic Park, and it looks fantastic, and I cannot wait. I don't know who's making it though, so I'm not really sure. I forgot to mention too, I didn't even write it down, but Supermassive is working with the creators of Dead by Daylight, I think it is, and they're making a single player narrative type game based off of Dead by Daylight, which, I mean, Supermassive, they did Until Dawn and like the Dark Pictures games, and yeah, I really loved Until Dawn, and it looked pretty cool. So I'm not a Dead by Daylight person, but I'll probably play that. No Rest for the Wicked. I remember like bits and pieces of it. It just looks like really like fast-paced action. But I'm really trying to like pinpoint which one that one was. But I know that it looked really cool. That's all I can remember. Senua's Saga, Hellblade 2. I don't know if we got a release date yet or not, but Hellblade 1 was amazing. The audio design on Hellblade is just crazy. It's crazy if you wear headphones playing this game. It's like a whole different experience. And I'm excited to see what they're going to do with the second one. Black Myth Wukong looks fantastic. It's like a kind of like a Monkey God samurai type game. Really fast-paced action. Unfortunately, I've heard some bad things about the studio that just came out yesterday, so I don't know how much of that is like fully true, or you know what exactly is going on with that, but it sounds a little problematic, so I'm not sure, which is kind of sad because it looks really fun. Windblown, I think this is from it was like a fast-paced kind of like a Metroidvania type game. I can't remember what else they made. I should have written this down, but there was just too much. But it looked cool. Palea. It's kind of like an open world, like MMO farming simulator. At first, kind of looked like Dreamlight Valley, and then I was like, oh no, this is something else. But it looks cool. I like farming sims. Speaking of which, Harvest Moon 64 is on Nintendo Switch Online, and I am super happy about that because that's one of the best games of all time, and it is the absolute best farming sim. I love Stardew Valley, don't get me wrong, but Harvest Moon 64 is the absolute best of all of them. That's it. We had Harmonium, which was one of the first ones that was shown, and this is really cool because it's kind of like a rhythm-based, like, musical game, but it's with sign language, and I was like, that's really neat. I like it when, like, games kind of, like, add those sorts of things. You know, characters, like, with different backgrounds, different disabilities, and all sorts of, like, inclusion and stuff, and I think that's amazing. More games should do that. And then we had the Brothers: A Tale of Two Sons remake. Brothers: A Tale of Two Sons is one of the best indie games I've ever played. It is so sad, but it was so cool. I played it on mouse and keyboard, so I got hand cramps because you're actually controlling two characters at once. But the remake looks like fantastic. They really like changed the graphics on it, and I mean it looked good as it was, but yeah, I'm definitely getting it and playing it again. Yeah, that's really what stood out to me at the Game Awards. Mainly Brothers, Crazy Taxi, and Jurassic Park. Those are my like big wins from there. So super excited. I'm really kind of surprised that we still don't really have much for like first parties from anybody. Like where are they at? Like when are they coming? Like I know Nintendo is probably like their new console's about to come out anyway, so that's not really, you know, that's not a surprise with them. But oh my gosh, did I really forget? No way. Oh, there's no way that I like forgot like my most important games of this thing. They weren't even like listed on the thing. That's really sad. Metaphor and Persona 3 Reload, fantastic, and I cannot wait for either one of them. Let's go. Metaphor looks amazing, and it's by the same creators of Persona 3, 4, and 5, and it's in the same Persona 5 engine. It's amazing. Oh, I can't wait. And Persona 3 Reload. And thankfully, like, Metaphor is coming out in, like, September of next year. And then we've got 3 Reload comes out in, like, January. And I need to pay off my collector's edition that I pre-ordered. But, yeah, so I don't know how that got missed. But anyway, yeah, those look amazing. Atlas is killing it. Yes, give us more Persona. And Metaphor looks very Persona-like, but like fantasy. And yeah, it looks cool. Anyway, Grand Theft Auto 6 trailer dropped on Monday. They had to release it early because there was a leak, because people are too impatient and they can't wait. And then we've got social media, and so people, you know, want to get the highest views and stuff. So those things happen, and then, you know, sadly, things get ruined, you know. So Grand Theft Auto 6 trailer dropped, and it looks pretty cool. I'm not really sure how we're going to play these two protagonists, if we're going to go back and forth between each one of them, if it's going to mainly be reliant on kind of like co-op, or like if you like decide to play one character only throughout the game. And I don't know, I'm not really sure how it's going to work. I would assume that it would be like switch back and forth between the characters. But it does look really cool. It's in Leonida, so like Florida, but it's, you know, Grand Theft Auto. So that's their state of Leonida, which is basically Florida. You've got all these like characters and like things happening that are very obviously things that have actually happened in Florida. Oh man, this is crazy. I lived in Florida for 3 years and I loved it personally, but yeah, there are some crazies there for sure. I mean, there's crazies everywhere, but yeah, some really odd things go on down there. Yeah, I'm super excited for Grand Theft Auto 6. We've got to wait until 2025, which I'm okay with. You know, don't try to push out games, you know, like give them enough time, because I'd rather just play a game that's done right the first time instead of, you know, have a game pushed out and it's not finished and then everybody complains anyway, so, you know, whatever. But Grand Theft Auto 6 is going to be pretty cool. I'm excited to see, you know, that I don't know, for some reason I'm kind of blanking on where the other ones have really been. I mean, Liberty City is basically a take on New York City. And I think, wasn't one of them LA? I don't know. But, because they've got all their, like fake names, you know. Yeah, I really liked 5 and I really liked 4 a lot. I liked Vice City a lot. I didn't really care for San Andreas too much. I'm one of the few, I guess. And then 3 was fun for its time, but it never really stuck with me. For some reason, I just only wanted to play 3 to just kind of drive around and do crazy things. But not so much for the missions or the story. Whereas Vice City had really good music, it had a lot of really nice visuals, and the gameplay was fun in Vice City. I don't know if it still holds up, it's been a while since I played, but yeah, and this is going to be kind of more similar to what Vice City was, but an upgrade. So yeah, I'm excited for that. What I'm playing this weekend, I'm playing Spider-Man 2. I am at like about 65%, and that's with getting side quests and stuff. So I'm getting close to done, I think. It jumps up pretty quickly once I do a main mission, and I don't really have too many side things left. I'm trying to go for the platinum, but we'll see how that goes. Alan Wake is going to come after Spider-Man 2, because we're playing that for Game Club, so yeah, I have not started that yet. I did start Mass Effect. I did decide to do the Legendary Edition because actually that is on Game Pass, and even though I have the Legendary Edition on PS5, I wanted to play something on my Xbox, so it's okay. It's a little slow, you know. I feel like this may have been like a little bit more interesting back in the day, but I don't know that I would say that it like aged well. The music is still really good, and some of the audio is a little creepy, to be quite honest, but I'm at the city right now, so I'm not too far in. We'll see how it goes. I know Mass Effect, the first one, is supposedly like, you know, kind of a slow burn, but I'm gonna go through it and then I'm gonna play the others. So and then I plan on playing Contrast as well, just for a short game. I'm gonna try to get all these, you know, but I think Spider-Man 2 I should finish this week, and then if I get to Contrast I should finish it as well. But that's my plan, and yeah, so that's really all I've got. What are you guys playing this weekend, this week? Also, let me know what you thought about the Game Awards, what your favorites were. And I will see you next time. Be sure to like and subscribe if you like this video, and peace.